Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Training, Learning, and Development Development Communities AIDC 23 event, the Accessible and Inclusive Design Conference. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. I'm just checking to see, make sure that folks are coming into the session. Oh, yeah, we've got everybody coming back in. Marvelous. I see those emojis flying up, and it's lovely to see you there, Erica. And let's see. Yep, some emojis going. Great. Okay, so we're going to get started. Again, everybody, I think that I mentioned it yesterday, mentioned it earlier this morning. We are so excited to have Dustin Giannelli here with us today. Sort of a last minute add to our speaker lineup, and an incredible one. Cindy highly recommended Dustin earlier when we were building the program out. And so we feel really, really grateful that he's here to share some time with us and to be a part of the event. I'm really looking forward to it. Dustin is the CEO and founder of HearsDustin, LLC, based in Boston, Massachusetts. As a DEIA public speaker who happens to be profoundly deaf, Dustin shares his lived experiences to help bring more awareness to the importance of DEI best practices, accessibility, and communication. You can find so much information about Dustin online. I've watched quite a few of his TikTok videos, and Dustin is everywhere. Just an amazing individual. I'm so excited to hear more about his story. And with that, Dustin, I'm going to go ahead and hide myself from the screen and let you take it away.
All right, thanks, Lewis. Hey, everyone. It's great to be here virtually. I hope this is the start of our journey together, and someday we all get to meet in person. I would like to offer a visual description of myself for anyone that's in the audience with any visual impairment. I am a fair-skinned male with short dark hair and a short scruff beard. I'm wearing a royal blue quarter zip. I guess I've been told it brings out my blue eyes. So that's me. And I'm here to introduce myself as a speaker, a motivator, business professional, and as Lewis mentioned, the founder and CEO of HearsDustin. Now, you can see on my screen here, I've worked with quite a few different brands, whether it be active lifestyle brands like Peloton or Lululemon. I've worked with different higher education companies, Princeton, UNH, and Emerson, and others, and different tech companies and arenas. And there's a lot of different and unique experiences that I have participated in as someone who is profoundly deaf, as somebody who is a DEI and accessibility advocate. And there's sky's the limit. There's so many organizations out there that are so focused on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging and accessibility. And I want to share what that means to me. So the goal of today is I'm going to introduce myself, my hearing loss journey, and explain my why, if you will. So on to my next slide here, and hopefully you can see that. Yes, that is Michael Jordan. And yes, that is me as an 11-year-old. I got surprised when I was a kid. I was 11 years old. My brother and I were surprised by my parents, and they got us in at the Michael Jordan basketball camp in Chicago. At 11 years old, I was 5 or 6 years new into being deaf. And I'm going to explain that experience to you. But before I do, I want to elaborate on the why. Now, think about it for a second, right? You're all training, development professionals, instructional designers. Somebody asked you, oh, what do you do for a living? You're at a wedding or an event, networking event. What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm an instructional designer and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Well, most people start with talking about what they do. And then they talk about how they do it. And then they talk about why they do it. Now, if we flip that logic and we start with why, and we explain what it means to you Now, remember, what you do, but why you do it is what drives you, right? So that's the most important. Why not start with it? And so then you can get into the how we do what we do. And finally, with pride, you can say what you do. So I'm going to explain why here's Dustin, why accessibility. Okay. And it goes along with this Michael Jordan story. I had no idea a camp like this even existed. I was from a small town just north of Boston. Yes, we went to the summer camp with our high school and all the kids in the town. But to fly out to another major city and participate in your idol's camp, that's another animal. People from all over the world. It was just an amazing experience. And yes, we got to meet Michael Jordan every day. Well, one night he did an auditorium speech. All the campers were in the front, called 1,000 campers, and in the back was all of the parents. I was about 50 or 60 feet away, so I could see the stage. We're waiting for Michael Jordan to come. Finally, he comes onto the stage. Everybody starts clapping. It's nice and loud and energetic. Well, as soon as he started talking, I very quickly realized I couldn't hear anything he said. There were no live caption. There was no video on his face so that I could see his face better. I couldn't read his lips. And my parents were in the very back. And they're the ones that usually accommodate for myself. And they weren't there to do it for me. So it was up to me to get help. And instead, I sat there for 1 hour and pretended to laugh and pretended to smile. I missed the entire hour of my idol's speech. Sure, I caught some words here and there, basketball, Chicago Bulls, drive to the lane, but I missed the real meaning and everything he said. And it was the moment I created this motto in my head, I didn't like that feeling. I knew at that point on I needed to be on offense. So I accommodate myself every which way I need to, and that's all throughout life's experience. So be on offense and start with why. Those are my two mottos. All right. Now, it's not all about me. It's not all about the deaf community. It's about the disability and the ability community. All of us, right? Now, this is my grandfather. You can see he's wearing a hook, a visible disability. What you don't see is he also has a wooden leg. He was double amputee. And at a very young age, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, before I even got hearing aids, he normalized what a handicap, what a disability was in my household. And so he explained, the different types of accommodations he needed as somebody that had a visible physical handicap. But when I was 5.5, 6 years old, and I was diagnosed with a profound hearing loss, which I'll explain how they found out in a little bit, I realized hearing aids are nothing more than glasses. Hearing aids help you hear just like glasses help you see. My grandfather was a double amputee. He had a real disability. So I got this early on confidence that helped me accommodate myself, but also be aware of when I didn't accommodate myself and how I can be better and better going forward. So the hearing loss journey starts like this. When I was 5, I went to the school nurse's hearing test, passed it no problem, and then the next year, same thing, except they put a board up in between each student and the nurse, which took away my ability to naturally lip read. I completely failed. And they were saying, raise your hand when you hear the beeps, and I couldn't see them click the button. The previous year, I was cheating. I saw them click the button, and I knew to raise my hand. They said, repeat the words after me: ice cream, baseball, all these words, and I was reading their lips. But this year, I completely failed, and I called my mom and said, "I think your son is deaf." And she said, "What?" Pun intended. I fooled my entire family. I was doing what I had to do to accommodate myself to be on offense, right, at a very young age. But these are the different accommodations that I received at a young age, from, call it 6, K through 12. I had individualized education program. My parents went to the IEP meetings for me. They met with the teachers each year to go over what styles of learning work best for me. That's sitting up front, that's participating, asking questions, making sure I can lip read, using a FM system, which was a microphone the teacher would wear, and it would connect to my hearing aids, help me focus. I also had a teacher of the deaf, and they would take notes and help me with after school projects and assignments and study for exams. I did speech therapy, and I was called in from recess at a very young age. And I didn't always love it because I wanted to play basketball, of course, but I did what I had to do. And I did well, and I took it serious enough that I have decent speech. Seating arrangements, after school help, and what they call Project Bridge. Project Bridge was a summer school with all the surrounding towns that had a lot of people from deaf culture who relied on sign language. As you can already see, I am a verbal communicator. My sign language is limited. I've known some growing up, and I took a class in college, got an A in my semester of ASL, and for the most part, I'm a verbal communicator. But this here is my audiogram, and it shows that I'm very profoundly deaf on the audiogram in the high frequencies. So without my hearing aids, which I wear too, I don't hear birds chirping, bells, whistles, alarms, babies crying, right? So in the future, we have a dog, and we're training him to be somewhat of a service hearing animal. And so he can alert me when these sounds, especially baby crying, happen, so that I'm alerted. So that's my degree of hearing loss. Now, this slide shows the evolution of technology. When I was 5, I had this one here in the very bottom. Very big and bulky, but then it modernized. So look here, the top left is a horn. It was like the very first hearing aid, if you will. It was a horn that went into the ear, and sound could funnel through that horn. Then it progressed into a tube. There was a little pocket machine and a bell or a horn type adapter, and it got smaller and smaller, more compact over the last couple decades between the 1930s and the 1950s. And then it got smaller and smaller. It became an earpiece. And then, like I said, when I was, so it was 1995, it looked like this. And then now they're nice and slick and modern. And you'll see in articles, people call them sexy. So these modern hearing aids are slick and cool, and they've come a long way. These are some different assistive technologies. So you look at, tabletop adapters, and this helps stream via Bluetooth sound directly to my hearing aids. I could be in a meeting. I could be in a restaurant. I could be hanging out with friends, and they could wear this, or we can put it right on the table, and it helps me hear better. There's phones that provide captions. There's iPhone apps that provide live captions. So there's just so much assistive technology out there for people that are deaf or hard of hearing. Now, to further explain my career in a nutshell, I've always been in sales and marketing and entrepreneurial roles. I spent 6+ years in the commercial architectural design industry. And that doesn't really have anything to do with accessibility, does it? Well, when you think of space planning, the biggest topic today is universal design, accessible spaces, right? Just like in your world, universal design in development and training. How do we create standards in programs and websites and any sort of design so that we can all perform the best we can perform, right? Well, in 2021, when the pandemic was just getting started, I realized I needed a lot of help, especially with all of these virtual meetings. And I decided there's this company in Boston called 3Play Media. They're the video accessibility thought leader. They do all things closed captioning. I needed to join that company. And they're a diversity and inclusion champion that I learned so much from. And I knew that it was so important for me to help myself, but also my community of people that are deaf, hard of hearing, or have different types of disability. Because again, it's not just about the hearing loss community, although there are 50 million deaf and hard of hearing Americans. Think about that. Again, there are 50 million out of 330 something million people in this country that are affected by hearing loss. In the world, there are 430 million people affected by hearing loss. And by the year 2050, that number is increasing to 700 million. So we're not going anywhere, and we need to continue to help each other, bring those solutions to the forefront of everything we do and everything we design. And that's when I decided at the beginning of this year, January 2023, it's time to launch Here's Dustin. And that really allows me to share my story and partner with different brands and organizations that are focused on diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility. And that's all of us, right? So when you think about all of those words, right? Diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, accessibility, what are we doing here? Essentially, we're all coming together. People with different disabilities, different abilities. You hear a lot about employee resource groups in different corporate companies and in higher education, and we're all coming together to create a community of best practices, of champions, people that are just trying to help make this world a little bit better. And I promise you, today, if we all continue to think positively and help each other and remember things that help me, that might help your friend or your parent, your brother, your sister, a colleague, and I promise we'll all be able to perform just a little bit better. All right. So with that, I like to talk about the 5 forms of communication, especially in the workplace, right? And I know we're learning a lot about the different workplace strategies as it relates to communication and universal design and so on and so forth. So remember, there's 5 forms of communication. 1 is verbal, what we're doing today. 2, nonverbal communication, sign language, right? Writing, anything. And 3 is written communication. 4, visual communication, presentations, and so on and so forth. And listening communication. So we need to think about all the different senses and also our audience. What if someone in the audience is lacking one of their senses? How do we design or arrange a room to make it accessible? Everything we do, everywhere we go, think about how we can make it easier, or I should say, less hard for people with disabilities. because it's always going to be challenging. Okay. So let me ask you a question. You probably heard this question before, this statement rather. Any workout is better than no workout. Agree? Some engagement in the chat while I talk. Do you agree any workout is better than no workout? I see some thumbs up emojis and hearts. Cool. Now, what if there was a gym that was very dark? There's my Boston accent, dark. Very dark and red lit. You can barely see the instructor. There's loud microphone that echoes. There's music blasting, and you're told to do a workout on the floor area, jump to the treadmill, back and forth, follow along. It's crazy. There's a lot of people. And someone like me, I can barely keep up. That's a little bit discouraging. That environment is very challenging to me. So how do we design that space, the website, the experience to be more accessible? Because to me, that workout wasn't better than no workout. In fact, I was so discouraged that I got down on myself and a little bit depressed. I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like the creators of that type of gym didn't think of me or my community. And that's 50 million Americans that they didn't think of, right? Not to mention, can people that are wheelchair users go to that gym? Can people that are visually impaired go to that gym? Rhetorical. But we need to think about how we can help each other be the best we can be. And in that case, that workout wasn't the best for me. All right. So I want to kind of leave off with a few different things. And this is a quote that was actually my high school yearbook quote. And I still live by it. And I remember sharing it with my grandfather. And it's such an important message that I'm going to read to you. And by the way, that's me and my mother fitting my hearing aids in my ears at the very first fitting in 1995 when I first got hearing aids. So let me read this quote. Watch your words, for they become, let me start over. Watch your thoughts, for they become words. Watch your words, for they become actions. Watch your actions, for they become habits. Watch your habits, for they become character. Watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. Now, my grandfather would always say, you have one reputation in life. Might as well make it a positive reputation, right? I mean, you can go to high school and everybody knows everybody and you have a good reputation. Then you can go to college in a different state, different part of the country. No one knows who you really are. You're starting fresh. You could then develop a bad reputation. The goal is to maintain and increase your reputation to be better and better and better. And that's what I always strive to do, is to be better and better and better and bring more and more awareness for the deaf community, for the disability community, and participate in experiences that bring more awareness at a mass scale. For example, go back to Peloton. How many people use Peloton? Let's see some interaction. Any hearts, any thumbs up? So I'll tell you, when the pandemic started, I was introduced to Peloton and I gave it a shot, although I love going to the gym and being part of a group, or I'm a people person. I want that people interaction. But when I got on the bike, I very quickly realized not only does every class have closed caption, but I'm able to Bluetooth my hearing aids to the bike. Next level technology. And I created this video that
Hey, Dustin. Hey, Dustin, this is Luis. I think, yeah, we lost your audio there. I think maybe when you switched over, it may have rerouted. Oops. Oh, where'd you go? Yeah, I was seeing that Dustin. I was watching some of his connection was a little spotty, and so I think that's one of the reasons why the audio was coming through with some interference. But let's wait to see. It looks like he had to log out, and we'll log back in. So hang on, everybody. Sorry for the technical issues. And I was seeing the comments in chat. It is okay. Wait, there he is. Hopefully, he'll be up in a moment.
Hey, Lewis, apologies about that.
That's okay. That's okay. One thing that we could do is if you wanna share the link to the video, that might be something that we can share out in chat so folks can watch it.
Yeah, much better.
There we go.
And I think if you want to add me back on video.
Yeah, it looks like last time I think it just took a second for your video to register. So let's hang on for a bit because yeah, there you are. Yeah, I think, and I was watching it, the connection was kind of a little spotty here and there, and so the audio was coming in occasionally with some garbling. But I can see you nice and big on the screen now.
All right, great. So the video is there, and it showed the captioning and the ability to Bluetooth my hearing aid into the bike, which again, next level technology. And Peloton, thought of me, right? When they created the bike, they thought of the deaf community and they realized, well, that might be an audience we can tap into and help during the pandemic. And sure they did, right? The gyms were closed and I was able to still get a great workout by using the Peloton accessibly. So I want to say thank you to everyone that invited me and listened to my talk, and invite you to add me on LinkedIn and any other social media platforms that you enjoy. I love to share my story, and I'm putting myself out there more and more and partnering with different brands that cater to the deaf community and the disability community. So you'll find me as a resource. Go through some of my past posts and videos and collaborations that I've done. And if there's anyone that would like to have me come speak to their company, I'm happy to do so. I travel quite a bit. I attend a lot of different conferences, and I've got a lot of exciting events coming up for the second half of this year, the remainder of the year. If anybody has questions, please jump in and feel free to ask now.
Okay, I was monitoring. I didn't see any questions come through, Dustin. But yes, lots of wonderful comments from people. And yes, I agree with Don. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's see here. I'm just waiting to see as all the comments come through. Yeah, it looks like we're good. What's the next conference that you're speaking at, Dustin?
Well, a big event that I'm attending is a New York Fashion Week event.
Ooh.
and I'm participating as a model. And it's an amazing organization called Runway Dreams. And all of the brands that are participating showcase adaptive clothing. And all of the models have different types of disabilities. It's an absolutely amazing nonprofit organization that's been around since 2014 and have huge presence in New York City and LA, of course. This is a New York Fashion Week event, September 13th. There will be a live stream for anyone interested, and I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. Okay, I've got a great question here from Yvonne, who is actually going to be a speaker later today. Yvonne is asking, Dustin, would you be able to share what kind of consultancy work you provide to clients or corporations?
Sure thing. So I do a lot of video experiences and marketing type awareness videos. Soon I'm going to an organization that trains hearing service dogs and other types of service dogs. So we're going to tour the facility, meet some of the trainers, and really understand what that experience is all about, both from a consumer and a trainer. And we're creating some video content that way. Speaking engagements, I do a lot of speaking with employee resource groups. I do a lot of social media affiliate programs and brand ambassador program as an influencer. And yeah, there's a lot of different types of opportunities and modeling shoots, commercial shoots. I really enjoy learning about new tech products and the different brands that are introducing new products that help people with hearing loss, number one, but really any disability, because I always think back at my grandfather, what are some of the new solutions out there that he would benefit from? And I have some really good friends, also keynote speakers that are amputees, and they're getting the most modern, cool, prosthetics that look so much different than as a kid growing up. I saw my grandfather wearing this wooden hook. So I'm very interested in all of the above.
Love it. Love it. I've got another question for you. How have you adapted your home for you, or how did your parents adapt their home while you were growing up?
Well, one thing was my phone or my alarm. It was very challenging to wake me up from a deep sleep each night. Of course, I don't wear my hearing aids while I'm sleeping, or I'm in the shower, or in a pool, or the ocean. Can't get them wet, really. So I had this alarm that was called the Sonic Boom, and it would be a vibrator under my pillow, and the light would flash, and it would beep very loud. I'm sure the whole neighborhood woke up at times, but that's definitely one way. Otherwise, we make sure that if I were to wake up in the middle of the night, the hallway is clear and everything's easy to escape. And also, I wear contacts and I have a heavy prescription. So if I needed to wake up in the middle of the night, not only am I deaf, but also quite blind. So it's very important to be aware of all those different, what ifs.
Nice. Okay. How about this one? This is my own question, but what kind of challenges do you experience when you're working conferences, when you're speaking at events, when you're keynoting, when you're doing that type of thing?
I mean, I'm very high energy and passionate, as you can see, but it can be very tiring. And I push myself to the limit that I keep shooting higher and higher, and then I'll crash. At the end of the night or the next day, I'm exhausted. I'm trying to hear all the time, and it's very fatiguing. But I'm very good with names, and so if there's name tags or someone says their names, I always try to say the name out loud, and it registers in my brain. And I mean, I really enjoy it, but that's definitely a challenge, is fatigue and knowing where to take a deep breath.
No, that's a really helpful answer. Okay, last question. This one's from our friend Cindy. Do you have advice for how a workplace can provide better access to tools, hardware, or software for their hearing impaired employees?
Definitely. There's a lot of websites out there that can help introduce new solutions. I've been very close with the Hearing Loss Association of America. So their website is hearingloss.org, and they have an annual Walk for Hearing all around the country. They have a lot of different solutions out there. But any hearing aid brands and different, if you Google, I mean, there's tons and tons and tons of different solutions. But the key is two things. It's twofold, right? Employees and people with disabilities, they want to, or they need to share what solutions work for them. But they don't always know what they don't know. So the employers need to do research and be equipped with a lot of different solutions to make sure that they have options. So that way it's two-way street and we get the help we need. But there's tons of information online.
That is great. That is great advice. Thank you for that, Dustin. Okay, well, I think that's it, everybody. I really, Kelly adds, employers also need to provide a welcoming environment for those conversations, which I think, yeah, that's absolutely key as well. Yes, thank you, Kelly. All right. Well, Dustin, thank you so much for joining us at our event this week. It's really been a pleasure having you. It's great to meet you. And yeah, I followed you on LinkedIn. Looks like I'm going to follow you on Instagram as soon as I log off here. And yeah,
I say the more, I post a little bit of different content on each page.
Yeah.
And welcome, all of us. I hope that this is just the beginning of our journey together. And I'm rooting for all of you. I want everybody to win and learn and grow and be the best they can be. And I want to also thank you, Louis, and everybody that attended and everybody that wrote so many amazing comments and questions. I really appreciate your participation and your encouragement. Of course, starting your own brand, a personal brand, is experience, and it's fun. It's everything. So I really appreciate your encouragement. Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that you are definitely on the right track. You have like so much charisma, and I'm hoping that I get to see you at a conference at some point. So so I'll be looking for you out there.
Awesome, Louis. Well, best of luck in the rest of your conference.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and close out the session. Don't forget, at 12 p.m. Pacific time, in just like 15, 20 minutes, we're going to have Deborah G. Harris talking about embracing learner variability with self-care. So make sure you take a short break and then come back to the event. And with that, farewell, Dustin. Hope to see you at some point in the future. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.